Hi boys and girls, today's lesson is the pawn. Now that we know the chessboard lines, it's time to meet a friend of mine. Here he is. His name is Sean. And guess what, people? Sean's a pawn.
I was brought here today to show the way that pawns can play. My name is Sean and I'm a pawn. Here's how never to move me wrong. The pawns are smallest, that is true, but we are kind and brave, and true. We are brave and that's a fact, that is why we don't move back.
Chapter 1. How Pawns Move.
Us pawns can move in just one way. Forward is the way we play. Forward means, we go up the board, in a straight line, we head straight towards the other end of the battlefield, with our swords and with our shields.
Hello, this is Sean, and he's a special piece called a pawn. He's here to teach us how he moves in the game of chess. Pawns might be small, but they're brave little soldiers. They always want to move forward, like when you race with your friends to the playground. Pawns have a simple rule. They go straight forward, just like when you walk in a straight line at school.
Chapter 2. A pawn can move one square or two.
A pawn can move one square or two, that is what a pawn can do. Should a pawn move one square or two, that is totally up to you.
When the game starts, a pawn can take a big step or a small step forward. That's 2 squares or just 1.
If a pawn has moved before, it can't move 2 squares anymore. When pawn starts out it can move 2, but when it's moved, going 2, is through.
When the game starts, a pawn can take a big step or a small step forward. That's 2 squares or just 1. But after that first move, it can only take small steps.
Chapter 3. Pawns can be blocked.
If something on the next square stopped, then you know your pawn is blocked. If something's on your pawn's next square, your pawn can't move, and it's stuck there.
If there's another chess piece in front of your pawn, it's like there's a friend blocking your path. The pawn can't move past it.
Chapter 4. How Pawns can take things.
If you look, then you will see that pawns take things diagonally. Color to color, tip to tip, that is how diagonals sit. When you take with the pawn, you move it from the square it's on, and put your pawn on the piece's square, and remove the piece that was standing there.
Pawns have a cool trick. If there's a piece from the other team next to them but in a slanty direction, we call it diagonally, the pawn can capture it. When the pawn captures or tags another piece, it stands in that piece's spot, and the other piece is out of the game.
Chapter 5. How Pawns are set up.
You have 8 pawns to start the game, and your opponent has the same. The white pawns go on the 2nd row, and the 7th is where the black pawns go.
Each player has 8 pawns, just like having 8 little toy soldiers. They start on specific rows, white pawns near the bottom and black pawns a bit further up.
Chapter 6. Pawns can be promoted.
When on the last row, a pawn is seen, it can then become a queen. When on the last row, a pawn you see, a rook, knight or bishop, it then can be. My name is Sean and I'm a pawn. Now you know how not to move me wrong.
The coolest part, if a pawn makes it all the way across the board without being tagged, it gets a promotion. It can become a stronger piece like a queen, rook, knight, or bishop. Imagine if you could become a superhero after crossing a playground.
Chapter 7. Time to play.
Set up the pawns on the board. White and black, like you've been told. Now you know how us pawns can go, the way we move both, to and fro. Set up the pawns on the board. White and black, like you've been told. You win when a pawn gets to the end. When the game is over, play again. My name is Sean and I'm a pawn. Now you know how not to move me wrong. Now you know how us pawns can go, the way we move both, to and fro. pawns aren't fast, in fact they're slow. Now play a friend, a sis or bro.
Remember, pawns might not be the fastest, but they're steady like the tortoise in the Tortoise and the Hare story. The game aims to help one of your pawns get to the other side of the board. Once you finish a game, you can always play again and again. Now, you're all set to play with pawns. Grab a friend or a family member and have fun with Sean, the pawn.
Thank you, Sean. You showed the way how pawns can move and pawns can play. A little time, that's all it took, and now it's time to learn the rook. Come and meet my friend named Brooke. She'll show you how to move the rook. Next lesson, the rook.